Welcome back to the Business of Becoming. I am your host, Steffany, and today we are wrapping up part 4 of our series of The Art of Becoming, and we are wrapping it with today's topic, which is how to know you are becoming and how to trust who you are becoming, even though life feels unclear. And I know we've talked a lot over these last few weeks on identity, on purpose, on confidence, and now we're really going to talk about just how to trust that version of you that is becoming. So let's dive into it. I'm actually very excited about this episode because I'm going to share with you guys where I'm at in my life and how I've been able to trust this new version of myself. So let's get into it. Four weeks ago, I asked you guys a question that not many people can answer, which is, who are you really? Not the title, not the role that you play, not the mom, the dad, the leader, the sales manager, whatever it is that you hold. Just who are you really? And we've walked down, identity. We've talked about the identity crisis that nobody really wants to share. We've talked about confidence, how, it's not really something you're born with. It's something that you gain through knowledge. It's a lot of different things. Go back to the episode and check it out. But we've also talked about purpose, which is something that if you don't know or have at least an idea of what that looks like for you, it's very hard for you to become anybody better. So today, we're going to wrap up this series with who are you becoming? Because we can talk about identity, confidence, and purpose, but the end game is who are you becoming and how can we trust that version of who are we becoming when life feels so unclear? Because there's moments in our lives where we're going to feel like everything is going great and we can clearly see the vision at hand and we can see the land and we're good. And then there's days where everything is chaotic. And those are the days that you need to trust that this version of you that you are becoming is going to see it through. Becoming isn't a destination. It's really not. Becoming is just a decision that you make every single day that challenges you, that forces you to say, I'm gonna see this through, even if it's completely unclear, and even if it makes me feel like I'm not the greatest right now, but I'm gonna choose to become somebody greater. So I don't want to just sound super rainbows and butterflies today, but I do want to remind you that there is something so powerful of choosing to become somebody great and choosing to become somebody better every single day when life is messy. And life gets messy, my dear. If you have lived long enough, you will know that life gets messy really fast. And maybe your problems right now seem like the biggest thing in the world to you, but to somebody else, that might have been 2, 3, 4 seasons ago in their lives, and they were able to see that through. Every single time that we turn a chapter in our lives, bigger problems, different messes, different situations that can seem like it's suffocating. But I'm here to tell you today that if you are choosing to become somebody better, if you are choosing to become somebody great, it's going to require you to believe a little bit more in yourself than what you already believe in. It's going to require you to step up to the plate and say, okay, I'm going to put my head down and I'm going to work hard and I'm going to make this a reality for me. Here's the thing about becoming that nobody really prepares you for. It is very quiet. It is sometimes desolate. It is uncomfortable. And it requires you to force yourself out of this shell that you've placed yourself in. It requires you to leave communities that maybe you have had your whole life, even put away some of the expectations that others have had of you and grow out of that. And it is not a great feeling. Sometimes becoming hits you like a friggin' train, and it's something that happens to you in your life. Maybe, you were forced to move and you were forced to get a new job somewhere else, and now you're in a new city, a new place. And yes, it's a great opportunity or whatever the situation may be, but it's basically uprooting. That's what it is. And it could be like me, where my life changed from one day to another when I started my process of divorce. because everything that I had planned out was completely evaporated in a second. Every thought, every desire, every dream, every plan, everything that took me years and took me years of believing that I would have, and, work that was put in. I mean, family that you integrated your life with, like all of that in a split second just changed. And it could be different for you. It could be not just a relationship, it could be a friendship, it could be a business, it could be, a new venture. It could be all these different things that happen. And it is a very interesting situation because it forces you to ask yourself that question: I'm here now. Where am I going to go? And who am I going to become from this? Maybe you've dealt with loss. Maybe you've dealt with something so personal that not many people can understand unless they're in your shoes. And no one can answer that question for you. It is an all you type of thing. And I found myself there multiple times, right? But even more so in recent years, where I've forced myself to ask this question to myself, who am I going to become from this? Do I want to be, the bitter, resentful, hurt, and just carry that weight around and just carry that on through my parenting, carry that on through my leadership, carry that on into my company, into my friendships, into any future relationship that I have? Or am I going to take this and say, all right, this happened to me, or business or whatnot, any other kind of situation, this is what's going on in my life, but this is what I'm going to see the good in. I'm going to see the good in this situation, as messy as it is. Something's good is going to come out of it. And I'm going to become somebody great because of this situation. That is something that we are going to really dive in. I don't care how sticky of a situation you may feel you're in or how down in the dirt you may feel you are. There's always room for you to be better. There's always an opportunity for you to learn from your situation, grow from your situation, and be able to teach somebody that will most likely end up going through these things, because this is life. Nobody is safe from suffering, not one person. And I learned that the hard way early on in my youth, and I've learned that the hard way as an adult. I had this conversation even with my niece, and I'll be completely candid with you guys. My niece is young, and she is the most coolest kid in the world outside of my two babies. But I had to sit down with her and tell her the truth of what was going on in my life, because she has an expectation of, how do I say this? She has an expectation of, not only is just God going to take care of everything, like if she follows God, like everything is going to pan out for her. And I agree. I believe that. But I had to sit down and have like a one-on-one aunt-to-aunt. I had to sit down and have a one-on-one aunt-to-niece conversation where I told her, it doesn't matter how much faith you've got in God. It doesn't matter, if you're Christian your whole life, or if you just like that, none of that matters, because no matter what you do, you're never going to be saved from suffering. There is so much to learn in your trials. There's so much to learn in failure. There's so much to learn when things don't go your way, even if you did them perfectly. Because she is a type A personality. So she gets stressed out for like an A minus, and this was kind of one of the situations that I saw myself being able to not just teach others like I'm doing right now on a podcast, but to teach people that I know have looked up to me my whole life, and, well, their whole life. But to also, take that opportunity to remind myself, too, that even if I've done everything right on paper, that does not mean that we're safe from life happening to us. Because in that in-between part of, who we are right now and who we're becoming, that in-between is where we find our footing. That in-between is where we really find out what we're willing to fight for, and we really find out what we are really willing to stand for. That's where our character gets built. And I am telling you that that becoming season has made such a woman out of me. And I hope that it does the same to everybody who's listening today, because if you identify the season that you're in right now and you can realize to trust, life may look a little crazy, but I trust that who I'm becoming is much better than where I'm at. I promise you this, you will find that you are building character that will last forever. And you will be leaving a legacy that people will admire. And I have seen a lot of people come and go in my life. I have seen a lot of loss, and I have lost a lot of great people near me. And I can tell you that I've seen so many versions of them and so many times of people that I've even looked up to. And I've seen that season of their becoming, how hard it was, how challenging it was for them, but that they stuck it through, that they strived through. And the resilience that they build is just, it's there's no words for it. And that's what I want in my season of this becoming. I don't want to stay bitter. I don't want to be unhappy. I don't want to think, why me? Because we can easily fall into a victim mentality. I want to be able to stand firm and be an incredible mom, be one that loves hard, even though my heart has been broken, even though many people have abused, of my kindness. I don't care. I don't want it to ever stop my heart of being generous. I don't ever want it to stop my intention to being there for people. And I want my kids to see that version of me. I want my legacy to be not, my mom got screwed, my mom got tried, and she was bitter forever. No. I want my legacy to be, she's been through hell, but she's done it with a smile. And she's done it knowing that God has had her back. And she's done it being able to love us and being able to provide for us and being able to take chances on herself and chances with other people, because you got to learn to trust yourself again. And you got to learn to open up again. And you got to learn to, even in business, which is probably one of the first encounters that I've ever had of betrayal and this and that, like, you have to learn to take chances and risk on people and be there for them. Even if you feel like, I've done this so many times, you never know who you invest in that will end up coming back 100-fold. I will be honest with you. This whole channel is about becoming, and it's about being truthful. And I am in the middle of my becoming season. I am in the thick of it because life is always messy. I haven't arrived. So I'm giving you guys the tips of how I am going through it and how I'm believing in my becoming and how I've seen it happen in these last few years, and I'm championing through it. I don't have all the answers, let's say. I don't have, the clear, perfect path to, being the perfect human being. And no, I don't. I don't have any of that. But I do have my truth. And I do have what has helped me get to a point in my life where I can breathe a little bit and believe that what I'm doing and how I'm doing is making me a better human being and those around me better. And I've seen it. It's honestly something that I'm super proud of. What I can tell you is every season that I've been proud of has come from a place where I was about to give up. And I stuck it through. Every version of me that gained something and strived for something and finally received that breakthrough went through that in-between moment before that where it cost me. Like, I didn't just gain something. I had to drop weight, basically. I had to drop something off of me that cost me in order to get to that breakthrough in my life. Nothing has come from just sitting down and being pretty and just saying, well, okay, if it happens, it happens. No, it is taking a lot of tough work in these becoming seasons of my life. Moments of clarity that I've had in my life have come from being in a fog for so damn long that I just got frustrated with myself and said, no, I can't be here much longer. And again, I'm talking from who I'm becoming right now. You know, I am expecting God to do so many things in my life, but there are times where you need to get frustrated with yourself being in a fog and saying, okay, like, I need clarity, and you need to work towards becoming someone who can get out of this, because you can't stay in a fog forever. You can't stay in the struggle forever. You can't stay in discouragement and just self-doubt, because if you are, then what's the point of trying? If you want to stay in this victim mentality and in this nothing's ever going to happen, or, you know, everything sucks, then you're never going to be the person, number one, that you want to become, and number two, that anybody ever wants to follow. And if you're listening to me right now and you find yourself constantly complaining about your situation and not really striving to find the solutions or becoming somebody to end that in your life, you're going to be like a nagging wife. You know, you're going to be somebody that no one's going to listen, and no one's going to even try to help out, because I've seen many people in my life where they're just negative and they're just down all the time. And there comes a point where you're just not going to extend your hand anymore, because you know they're not going to take it. And you know they're not going to find their way out. They want to stay in that maze. They want to hit walls because they feel like that's who they've become. That's become their identity, which is why I talked so much about it in our prior podcast, because you need to have a clear understanding of your identity in order to become somebody great. Because you do not want to fall into the predicament where no one will want to hear what you've got to say. Because I promise you this, we are all meant to make a difference in the world. And yours is just as important as mine, just as much, because there's people that I might not be able to reach that you can. And if you don't find your way out of this negative cycle, your purpose in life is just not going to be fulfilled, and you're going to have this sense of incompleteness. And so many people have died with that sense of just not having purpose. And I don't want that for you. Neither do I want that for me. So how do you know you are becoming, and what are the signs? There are 3 signs that I was able to jot down from my own personal experience to identify if you are in that becoming season of your life, where you're able to make that transition into, oh, I can do something great, even if life is crazy right now. So the first sign that I noticed for myself when it was a season of growth for me and a season of becoming somebody better and getting into a different level, I guess you can say, in my life, was that the things that used to satisfy me no longer satisfied me anymore. What does that mean? That doesn't mean that I just don't like being around the same people, or that now I'm better than them. Not at all. It just means that the room that you're in feels small. And once you feel like that room is too small, it forces you to believe that, okay, there's a bigger room and I need to go find it. Sometimes you even feel foreign in a place that used to feel comfortable, in a place that used to feel like home. You feel like enclosed. And that for me is such a pivotal sign that, oh, this is a season of expansion. Like I need to find where this feeling is coming from, and I need to start like moving. And I need to start realizing, what am I supposed to become now? If I feel like this isn't enough for me, what am I looking towards? What room should I be looking to walk into? And expansion always feels uncomfortable before it even happens. You know, a growth spurt hurts. If any of you guys remember all that time that your parents used to give you Motrin because your legs were hurting, it was you were growing. And it hurts. It's called growing pains. And that is the same exact thing in life. That is the same exact thing in business, where you start feeling like something's uncomfortable. Something's not working. Like it's not, something's just not clicking. and something's just not feeling like it's enough right now. Every system could be doing what it's been doing for the last 10, 20 years, but it gets to a point where you start getting a little restless because you're saying, wait, like I don't feel comfortable here anymore. And listen to that sign, listen to that intuition, because it is so vital if you can pinpoint that and say, oh, I'm supposed to be growing right now. Okay, let me lean into this. Let me be bold enough to see, and just out of curiosity, what can I be doing better? These are the signs of becoming the next version of yourself. And I don't want to say like, oh, you're the better version. I know I've said that a couple of times, but it's the next version of yourself. Like, the version that you are right now isn't going to carry you in the next few seasons of your life. So you have to listen to these feelings or these keys, and I want to name them for you, which is why I'm saying it's so important that if the things that used to satisfy you don't satisfy you anymore, no longer satisfy you, then that's such a key ingredient to, oh, I'm actually growing. I'm actually supposed to be somebody to carry me in this next version, in this next season of my life. I'm supposed to be somebody new. It's becoming the version of yourself that will carry you through the next couple seasons of your life. And you need to be very, very careful to listen to that voice, because if not, you will stay stuck in the same position and you'll enter a vicious cycle. I've had to leave friend groups. I've had to leave churches. I've had to leave places where I was doing business, and I had to leave so many different things in my life because they weren't satisfying me anymore in the way that was feeding the right things into me. And again, I want to be very clear, like, it's not that you're just like, oh, this sucks now and I'm out. No, it's that it's not challenging you to grow. It's not challenging you to become a better person. It's not challenging you to be able to withstand more in life. It's not challenging you even to be able to handle more responsibilities, you know? The second thing is that I've learned about seasons in my life and how I know it's teaching me to become another version of myself is you being tested in the areas that eventually you will lead people from. What does that mean? That means that every leader has gone through a season where they have felt like the last. They have felt like the worst, or they came up short. Everybody who's teaching about identity, everybody who is teaching, about personal growth and all this stuff, they've gone through identity crisis themselves. I have gone through identity crisis myself. So these places that I can now lead from, and I can share with you how I got through it, I have to identify that, oh, I'm going through this right now. I may have authority over this one day, and I may have the capability to carry influence in this area one day. I started a business very young, so I know I have the influence to carry a conversation with a young entrepreneur and tell them, hey, don't do this, 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 and that. Here, let me teach you something. I can lead from this part now. So when I go through seasons of my life where it seems dramatic and it seems chaotic, I have to sit back and say, okay, what is the next version of myself going to be able to learn from this? And how can I teach others to avoid this problem? Or not even just avoid it, but go through it and grow from this as well. So it is very important that you don't look at challenges and you don't look at trials and say, again, why me? But you look at it and you say, okay, this is the challenge. Let's do it. I'm going to be able to teach about this one day. I mean, I see myself teaching in conferences. I see myself on a stadium. I see myself doing this thing forever. And I see myself even teaching about the version of myself I'm becoming right now to somebody in the future, somebody who's going through their own mess. I see myself doing that. And I think it's so important for you to be able to identify, oh, right now this is what I'm going through in this crisis. Great. This is what I can learn to lead from in the future version of myself. In my company, we have this thing that I say all the time, that this is bigger than us. And I mean it with everything. My whole staff knows that everything we do is bigger than us, because your struggle is not a disqualifier. Your struggle is actually a qualifier. It's a qualifier for you to eventually be able to lead from, right? And share with others how you got through it. And I say that all the time here. I'm telling you, it is bigger than us, because what you're going through right now is not just for you. It is not just for you. It is for everything that comes after. It is for your generations that come after. It is for the people that you're meant to lead. Every struggle you've got is maybe something that you're going to have to talk to somebody who's going through that struggle one day, and you can actually lead them through it in the right way. And the test that you're in right now is qualifying you to be exactly what somebody else is going to need in the future. Don't limit your struggle. Don't even complain about it. Like, complain about it for a couple minutes in the morning, and then go the rest of your day and say, you know what, I'm going to overcome my thoughts, and I'm going to champion through this. Because, again, everything in this life is not meant for you, and for you only. Because you don't take any of it when you die. None. No money, no accolades, no nothing. None of it. What you leave behind is the legacy that you were able to create. And that is through being there for people. That is through sharing with others your trials and tribulations, and making sure that others don't stay in that same place. It is bigger than us. And I think I'm going to put that somewhere here so that we can see it, right? The third thing that I would say is extremely crucial to the next version of you, is when you feel a pull towards something that you can't even really explain. I'll give you a perfect example. Back in 2018, I had a very strong pull to, start hiring people and start building a team and all this other stuff. I didn't understand it, because yes, I wanted to grow and it made sense, but I didn't have, how can I say, like, I didn't have the amount of work that you would need to have the staff that I was pretty much hiring. And I remember that I felt this pull to do that, so I started, and I think it was in 2018, that we started our sales team and everything like that, and it was going great. And I remember I was like, okay, this is good, this is what I'm feeling. And in reality, it really wasn't. I was still looking for something more. And there was this pull that I had to travel and to go to Tallahassee. And there had just been a storm that hit Tallahassee. And I just remember I was like, man, I got to go. Like, I have to go, but I don't have not one client there yet. Not one. And I remember talking to one of the bosses at that time, and I was just like, I really think I should go. I can't explain why, but I feel like I have to. And he was like, yeah, no. Like, it's a waste of time. Don't do it. It's too far, all this other stuff. And I was like, man, I'm just going to risk it. Like, I feel this need to go. And I remember I got one call, and it was from a client that was down here in Miami, and she said she had an aunt over there, and she wanted me to go visit her. And I had one client. And when I tell you that I went, and I didn't come back, I had only planned to be there for one day. I didn't come back for weeks, because I got so busy and so slammed so fast that it was hard to keep up with how many appointments I was having a day. And it was insane. And that pull for me to go was challenging to me, because I wasn't at the place where I can risk that much at that time. Every risk that I had was very calculated, especially financially, because I had already expanded, so I was kind of thin, and it was like I had to have something concrete. And when I tell you that built such a different version of me, I still remember those years like it was yesterday, because it set me up as such a leader. I brought in most of the work during that time in my company. I was one of the top salespeople because of that risk that I took. But I also had so many people that I was training at that time, and my sales team, I was building them, and it was just like one thing was complementing the other, and it just flowed. And I had to grow into this version of being more responsible for not only my clients, but now like my staff. And it was really the first time that I felt this pull, and I just risked it really, really heavy. And I saw such a transition from who I was when I started working that storm to who I was after that storm finished. I was a completely different person. Completely. I was a completely different leader. I was a like it was like night and day. So listen to that pull. Listen to that something that you just say, man, this doesn't leave me alone. Like something's nagging at me to try this or to start this business or to, start this venture or whatever it is. Like listen to it, lean into it, because it could be the greatest reward you'll have. I promise you, it could be one of the greatest rewards that you can have. I had no clear path. I had no clear vision. It was just, this is what I feel to do and I'm going to do it. And it paid an insane dividends for me to listen to that and trust that I was going to become what I've always wanted, which was going to be a leader, basically like someone running, her own company at that point. And it was, like I said, it was an incredible thing to see from when I started that storm to after who I was. And it built so much character. Oh, man. I got really close to Frankie on that trip, too. We bonded for 16 hours a day, if not more. You don't need to see the whole damn staircase to know that you're going up. You just need to take one step and move into a direction, and you'll see how your steps start to align. But if there is anything that I want you to take away from this series, is that you are not lost, you are not broken, you are not a loser, and this is becoming. This is a process in your life that you need to learn how to appreciate, and you need to learn how to acknowledge and say, okay, we're going to make something beautiful out of this mess, because that's all we do. We can't avoid problems. We can't avoid tragedies. We can't avoid situations being crappy. But we can decide how we will react and what we will become from this and from all of the crap that happens. We have the power to either stay the same, become worse, or become better. The business of becoming is not some cute tagline. It is a decision. It is a choice. It is something that you have to choose to do every single day. It is a responsibility to yourself, to your future self, and to the future babies that you are going to have or the kids that you already have. It is a declaration that you are becoming. It's not just something to be cute about and say, oh yeah, I'm like becoming. No, it is, I'm becoming. And there's days where I have to say that and say it aggressively because I have to feel like I mean it. I have to feel like it is real because it is real crazy. So I have to feel like it is really something that I have all the faith in the world that this season looks like this, but I'm going to become free. And I'm going to become, in a position where I've been wanting to see myself in a long time. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to find myself out of anxiety. I'm going to find myself out of depression. I'm going to find myself out of, emotional damage that I have. I'm going to see that light of day because I'm choosing to see what I have in front of me right now and say, okay, this isn't enough. This isn't the future version of myself. It's making these decisions every single day to choose yourself and choose the new version of yourself and trust that version of yourself. Trust it because nothing is worth more than you believing in yourself. Nothing. So if you think you are going into the next version of yourself, you got to ask yourself, do I feel or see these things in my life? Do I feel like the things that used to satisfy me no longer do? Do I feel like I'm being tested in the areas that one day I will eventually lead from? You can ask yourself that question. It's important. And lastly, do you feel a pull towards something you can't explain? These are key indicators for me, and they have been key indicators for me in my life to know that I was going towards a new version of myself. And I encourage you, if you feel that, or you can kind of be able to answer your own question, look back at the rest of the series and see how all of this can help you and lead you to become this incredible version of yourself that is going to carry so much more, and not just carry it with like, oh God, I got to carry this burden, but be able to carry it gracefully and to be able to give back in so many different ways gracefully. If you've been in that preparation season and you haven't had the language to actually put into words what it is that's been going on, this series is for you. If you know somebody who's been going through that and they've been in this like mental space of like prepare, share this with them. It has changed my life completely, and I really do hope that it changes yours. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you again for listening. Drop a comment. Tell me if you want me to start a new series or if you want me to expand on something specifically. It would be great to hear back from you guys. I can't wait to see you guys on the next one.